That's probably true. Yeah. I still think the M dwarf you guys found with Disc Detective with the disc in Karina, it's still old to have that kind of disc, but it's not quite as crazy.
Not as old. Not as.
Yeah.
It's still. It's nuts. Not just totally loopers.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's probably beta pick age, which there are M dwarfs with discs, but we usually think of them as debris discs, right? Yeah.
Like 24 mega years.
Yeah.
It has accretion.
Yeah. So that's crazy.
Still a weird thing.
To still be accreting at that age. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's still crazy. Maybe slightly less crazy.
Interesting. Hey Jackie, who's your junior colleague, your low mass companion?
This is Maggie.
Hi Maggie.
You want to say hi, Maggie? Maggie. Hi.
Hello, Maggie.
Hi. You got a hi out of her. It's my niece. She's here with my nephew. They're watching Bunked. I'm going to turn it down a little, but I'm muting again.
Cool. Hey guys, we have new people. Andy Harrell is joining us from Florida.
Hi guys.
How you doing?
Good.
And Amber is also new.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for joining. We should go around and introduce ourselves. Hi, Michael. Michael, you, I think, you've been part of the group for a while, haven't you? Am I mistaken? Anyway, good to see you.
Dan, are you already tired of this meeting?
Our household has been ravaged by disease.
Oh no. Oh no.
Sorry to hear that, man.
It's one of the tragedies of parenthood. You're sick half the time. Shall we go around and introduce?
Why don't you start, Mark?
Hi, I'm Mark. I'm an astrophysicist at Goddard Space Flight Center and also at NASA headquarters. And I got into citizen science through a different project called Disc Detective. It's fun that when Jackie approached me and said, "Hey, you guys should do another one," I immediately said no. But then I guess that was 2016. But then it's 2019, and here we are, and it's been a blast being part of this group, finding brown dwarfs. Should I pass to Jackie on that note?
Yeah, so Backyard Worlds began because Mark gave a seminar somewhere where I was a postdoc and presented on Disc Detective. And I saw his talk showing all these red objects that he was throwing to the side because they kind of were blurry or elongated. And he said, "Does anybody in the room want these?" And I came up to him after and I was like, "Just give them to me, I'll take them." And he said, "Why do you want them?" And I said, "Because I think we can find a brown dwarf closer than the closest star, and you have to blink a bunch of images, and your citizens have already done it." And that started the conversation that led to Backyard Worlds getting launched, where now everybody here is helping us find that, plus Planet 9, which is also involved in this. And so I'm an astronomer. I'm in New York City. Currently, I have my niece and nephew in my office, which is why it's dark, because they're also watching a show. And I work at the American Museum. It's a museum. It's also a planetarium. It's really fun. And I run a research group called Brown Dwarfs in New York City.
Thanks, Jackie.
And then I'll pass, everybody that finishes has to pass it off to somebody. So I'm going to pass it off to Adam.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Adam. I'm a research scientist at Arizona State University, and I've been with this, I think, pretty close to the beginning, and it's been pretty amazing. So I help. For those of you who are new here, I help kind of vet a lot of the targets that come through the Backyard Worlds framework, and kind of help choose which ones we're going to try and follow up and do a lot of the follow-up observations too. So good to meet you. Good to see you again if it's not our first time. And I'll pass it on to maybe a citizen. How about Giovanni?
By the way, there's also a little chat room. There's a little thought bubble down at the bottom of your screen. If you click on that, you can see people chatting a little bit.
Giovanni, do you want to introduce yourself?
I can't hear you.
Now you can hear.
Yes.
Yes. Shall I introduce myself after 2 years?
To some new people, maybe.
New people.
Well, I suppose to be the only Italian up to now, up to a few days ago. But as far as I see, there is somebody else from Italy. One day, maybe I will translate the FAQ, the frequency asked questions in Italian, not in French, Marc. Okay.
Spagnoli Fulvio, right?
Spagnoli Fulvio. As far as I have realized, he lives about 250 kilometers far in a beautiful place because he lives on the Apennini. Apennini are small mountains almost at the seaside, between the flat where I live, north of Milano, because unfortunately I work and live in Milano. Beautiful city, but not very pleasant. More pleasant are the places where Fulvio Spagnoli lives. I am glad because I am not very far from the Italian Alps. And indeed, I am a member of an association, astronomical association, that has an astronomical observatory on the top of a mountain not far from Milano. 60 kilometers north of Milano. But my job is not astronomy, it's my love, my former studies when I was at the university. As you, Marc, already know, I am just involved I am a propulsion guy, as you told. I am involved in research in propulsion at the university, the Technical University of Milan, at the Department of Aerospace Science and Technology. Hopefully, I'm going to retire and to have more time for Backyard World in a couple of 3 years, something like that.
Awesome. Thanks, Giovanni.
Backyard Worlds still will need our help.
Yes, indeed.
You have to nominate somebody to go next, Giovanni.
Sorry, I nominated. Once more, please.
You got to nominate who introduces themselves next.
Don't understand.
So you're supposed to pick the next person, Giovanni.
I don't understand. Sorry, can you repeat?
How about I'll pick the next person?
All right.
How about
you, Adam?
Who is a nice person?
Yeah.
Not me.
How about you, Adam?
I just went.
Yep.
I'll pick. It's Davey. Davey, you go next.
Okay, hey, just give me a second here because I'm working on Backyard World's data as we speak. So I'm Davey Kirkpatrick. I'm actually at the California Institute of Technology in Pasadena, California. And I've been on the Y Science team since the very beginning, which is, well, actually late 1990s. So I'm very familiar with the WISE data, and I've been working on brown dwarfs just about as long as anybody, back before they were really a thing. My thesis was back in 1992, and I was looking for brown dwarfs and didn't find any because we had exactly 0 that were known. And now we've got thousands, which is awesome because we have lots of stuff to play with. My current role on the team at the moment, and the reason I'm looking a bit distracted, is I'm going through all the data from Becky's original Spitzer program, which was 14076 program number-wise, which was the original Spitzer program where we're getting colors for all your guys' backyard worlds motion targets, the ones that look like they could possibly be the reddest and the coldest. And I'm about halfway through those at the moment. So if you see me looking off to the side, I'm working on my other laptop, just making the mosaics. Okay, and shall we go off to Sarah next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Logston. I'm an astronomer and postdoc at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center outside of Washington, D.C., where Marc is as well. I've been a member of the Backyard Worlds team for about 2 years when I came to Goddard, and Marc said, I heard you like brown dwarfs. Do you want to join our citizen science team? And it's been a ton of fun. I'm really excited to have new people joining us this week. I am very interested in both detecting and characterizing brown dwarfs and also exoplanets, and I'm also really interested in building new state-of-the-art instruments to study these objects better. So next, let's try a new person. How about Andy?
Oh, okay, yeah. Hey, my name's Andy Harrell, and I'm a software engineer, and I live in Sarasota, Florida. And I guess I just saw the project online. I'm an amateur astrophotographer. I like to take pictures of space with a group of my friends. We have a local astronomy group here, and I'm very interested in how you guys process all the data, and particularly like the programmatic aspect. Already found some you guys are talking about using different query languages to refine information, and I think it could be very interesting to me. I really like that kind of stuff, so looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks for joining, Andy.
Yeah, and I'll pass to how about Aaron?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm Aaron Meisner. I've been working on Backyard Worlds since probably about 2016. I originally helped Marc and Jackie and Adam co-found the project. I've been working on image processing of the WISE data since probably about 2011 or 2012, and so image processing of big data sets is kind of my specialty. And so the WISE raw data is something like 30 million images, and I take that and condense it into a much more useful form that eventually becomes what you see in the Backyard Worlds flipbooks and also the WISE U tool that people have been using a lot. And I'm currently an astronomer at an institution called the National Optical Astronomy Observatory in Tucson, Arizona.
Excellent, Aaron. Who's the next person to steal the cookie from the cookie jar?
Has Hugo gone?
Hugo.
I am here. Okay. Well, I am Hugo. I am citizen science part. I am in the project since the beta, let's say, because I am part of another project this detected and is also under Marc, so I started from there. I do mostly betting, whatever I can. That sometimes is not too much of the free time, but well, because also thanks to citizen science, I started to work in another projects here in my city, and those also use a lot of my time. So I maybe I in the path of become a semi-professional astronomer. Let's see. So well, I am from Argentina. In case interesting detail. And I don't know who can be next. I lost the track of who is talking and who not.
About Amber, maybe.
Okay. Hi. Yes, I'm Amber. I'm an undergrad student at University of Massachusetts Lowell. Something I forgot to mention in my introduction. I got my start in citizen science in Planet Hunters,
Oh, nice.
and yeah, and so Backyard Worlds seem like a natural evolution of that.
Totally.
Yeah, I've loved astronomy for a long time. Tried for like internships and stuff at observatories, and never got them. So yeah, I'm excited to be a part of this group.
Nice.
Awesome. We're excited that you're part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I also started with Planet Hunter, but this detective ended catching my interest more because the work with the image. Planet Hunter is just a curve. This detective was more interesting with the image. So.
All right. So next person, ma'am, has Jim gone?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Hey, Jim.
Hi, I'm Jim Raby. I live in Michigan here. I was a chemist and retired 2 years back, just before this project actually started. I've always been interested in astronomy, and when I noticed it coming up, I joined about 2 weeks into the program, I think, and have been involved ever since.
Awesome.
And,
You've been on many a time, but I've exchanged precious few words with you. Where are you located?
Midland, Michigan.
Midland, Michigan.
Right. About halfway up the Lower Peninsula.
Awesome.
Okay, let's see. Next, how about Les?
Les says he is at work and he might not be able to talk.
Okay. How about Austin?
Austin.
So I'm Austin. I am an undergraduate physics student at the University of Central Florida. I've been doing this for maybe, I don't know, a year or two now. And then I also have my own research through UCF doing studying asteroid regolith and Saturn's rings. So, well, Daniela just joined, so you can go next.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm late. My update is that I've been working with Adam on getting the HSC photometry done, and I think we have more solid results. Though we have 4 T-dwarfs, but yeah, OA 30 is still. I guess I need to make sure that I'm subtracting the background correctly, but well, yeah, that one's, I don't know what it could be. That was definitely cold. I mean, it's undetected on the HSC images, so that's still exciting.
Awesome.
Daniela, you joined a little late, so we've been introducing ourselves to new people too. So
Hello.
maybe just a small introduction.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome to anybody who's new. My name is Daniela. I work at the Museum of Natural History. I'm a postdoc, and I work on many things brown dwarfs now, not just binaries.
Thanks, Daniela.
And right now I'm working on HSC data from Backyard Worlds.
Yeah, I'm really glad we got that sorted out.
I know, yeah, that was really annoying, but I'm glad we got it sorted out. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
So is the photometry all complete at this point?
Sorry?
Is the photometry all complete at this point?
I really want to look into a couple of centroids, make sure that I'm looking at the right thing, because I'm doing this like in bulk. So there's a couple of images that I know the centroids are not correctly positioned, but yeah, pretty soon. The next thing I need to work on is getting uncertainties on these on the photometric values. But yeah, that's not too much, I guess. The hard part, I think the hard part is over.
Cool.
And I'm looking for this plot that Adam, the one that you sent me, where you position the T-dwarfs in the color plot. I think I have it on my email. Yeah, there we go. How do I share one plot with everybody? Oh. They put it in the chat.
There's a share if you want to share your screen.
Okay, could be dangerous. Let me see.
I think if you go to share, you can choose whether to share the whole screen or just share a window.
Sarah, I didn't see you there.
Daniela.
Okay.
And is that David Delmail?
Can you see this?
I see it.
All right, yeah. So I did the photometry of these 4 things. There's the 5th one that's OA30, the potential white dwarf, and then I made this nice plot of all their T-dwarfs and known white dwarfs. So I'll stop moving here. Wait, okay. So on the x-axis, that's F125W, which is sort of a measure of J-band. This is like a near-infrared magnitude, for the people who are new. And then W2 is a mid-infrared. And on this side is two near-infrared magnitudes. So these are hanging out with the T-dwarfs. They're still a little bright. Well, we'll see.
Which one is 0830?
It's not in here.
Not here, because it's not technical.
No. So there are 2. The reason why I'm not claiming that I'm done yet is because there are 2 ways to calculate insert background. Adam in his paper picked random parts of the sky that were empty to calculate the background there and got a median of that. And that's the background that we subtract of the aperture flux for the star. That's one way. The other way is taking an annulus around. The reason why Adam did the multi-aperture thing is because he realized that the pixels were correlated, so the annulus would be, maybe the flux of the annulus would be correlated with the flux of the aperture itself. But, so I've calculated both ways. And I think, Adam, here you plotted the annulus, the star flux, like using the annulus background. And I think for that one, I get a negative flux, so essentially I don't get a magnitude for OA30. But if I do it the other way, then I do.
Yeah, I think either way, we won't be able to plot 0830 on this one because we'll have a limit for 105 and 125. How do you see?
Yeah, that's true. We have limits for both of these.
But that one can go on a different figure for sure.
Yeah.
This was just to see where they are. And all those T-dwarfs are T8s and 9. So it's not like, it's not getting like early T or anything. They're definitely late T-dwarfs. So this is cool. These are some good discoveries.
Yeah, this is cool.
Where is 0830 going to fall approximately on the x-axis? Like, what kind of limit are you getting now that you're doing the analysis, in a proper way? Like 12? Is it like 10 or?
Let me check. Let me stop sharing this and go through my million windows and look it up.
Yeah, I don't think we quite got a 3 sigma limit yet.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm just really curious to know how huge of a number it is.
I think it's just a little deeper. I think it's still close to 10 or something on that axis.
How many other objects are in that regime of 10 or more for that color? I assume 0855.
The one, yeah. I think it's just 0855. But I think...
what about that WD0806P? Is that a little bit bluer in this color?
I don't know. I definitely want to plot that. I want to grab the white dwarfs and plot them there too. But I think I'm gonna. There's a few ways to calculate, like a few knobs, tiny that change the photometry in tiny little ways. So Jackie and I were talking about grabbing HSD images for all the white dwarfs that are known to have an image with HSD, running them through the same code, so everything's in the same, consistent measurement, and then plotting all the photometry there. For OE30, I'm getting, if I take the multi-aperture noise, F125W minus W2 of about 5.7.
Don't know what that means without seeing the plot, but that's cool.
Yeah.
We can talk about that later.
Yeah, I can send the plot around.
Yeah, and then the other question I had is what are you using for the position?
Python has a centroid code. It has like 4 different ways to find the centroid. So that's what I'm using. Like I'm giving it an X and Y that I find on DS9, and then that centroid in that star.
Yeah, I guess I was wondering because the one object is undetected, right? So you must have to like choose a position in the image. Or I guess if everything anywhere nearby has no sources, then it just doesn't matter because it's all the sky background.
Right. I picked I think for that one I went to Good Stuff and I looked up the 2018 coordinates and I used that as a position.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks a lot. Sounds great.
Yeah, nice work, guys.
Yeah.
Moving along.
Moving along.
Ooh. And hi to Bob and David who just joined.
Hello.
Hi, Bob.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Hi.
Welcome to the club.
How y'all doing?
We're great. We were in the process of introducing ourselves, and also ordinarily during these calls, we also check in and give each other updates on what we've been working on. So we're mixed. There's a little bit of that mixed in too.
Okay.
But shall we go back to introductions? Would you like to introduce yourself, Bob? What we've got you?
Yeah, sure. I'm Bob Blaskowitz. I have been interested in astronomy since I was just a wee bairn. I'm in South Jersey where I teach freshmen critical thinking and writing skills. And I use extraordinary claims to do that. So things like ghosts and psychics and that sort of thing. I really like Carl Sagan. And my greatest astronomical accomplishment was making Seth Shostak laugh at a joke at a conference. That was big for me. It was even a joke about aliens. It was pretty sweet. So.
That's awesome.
Seth
Well,
is a good guy.
Glad you could join us.
Cool. Well, now we have high expectations for the quality of the humor.
Yeah. Well, I boxed myself in, didn't I? Good.
Also, glad you could join us. And then, would you pick at random someone else you see on your screen?
I'm not seeing a list.
Names. All right. Why don't I call upon Sam Goodman? Hey, Sam.
Hi. I just got in.
Cool. Will you introduce yourself to everybody and then pick someone else to introduce?
Okay, I'm Sam Goodman. Yeah. I've just been doing this for a couple of years now. Yeah, and
Sam's being modest. He's one of our expert brown dwarf finders.
He discovered a co-mover that we're writing a paper about.
That's true too.
yeah, and currently I'm just fighting with Unwise. So yeah. But other than that, that's unfortunately I don't have much time at the moment, so it's just getting time to do it. Okay, so who else?
Always great to see you, Sam.
Okay, who else? Is there anyone else new today?
I haven't spoken yet.
Oh, okay, you go ahead.
Big.
Justin Whitney. I live in Lincoln, Nebraska. Calling from my break room at work right now, which is probably why my connection keeps dropping. Astronomy enthusiast. I give occasional astronomy talks at my Toastmasters group that I'm in. Done a handful of astronomy-related Zooniverse projects, and got the invitation of this one day back in February or March. So hopefully I can contribute.
Oh, thanks for coming out, Justin. Great to meet you.
Thank you.
Who have we not heard from yet? Do we hear from Michael?
Oh, you haven't. My name is Mike. I started in Backyard Worlds probably like 2 or 3 years ago, and then I gave it up for 6 months because I thought it was hard to kind of look through the flip books. It wasn't hard finding the dipoles, but I just found it difficult. So I came back to it 6 months later, and then all of a sudden I discovered WiseView. Well, since I discovered WiseView, I put in as many hours as I could, and probably are looking for too small of things besides dipoles. So I spend quite a bit of time on one flip book, and yeah, I get a little too immersed in it, but I'm having fun and learning a lot. So I just look forward to finding things that haven't been found yet.
Awesome. So great to finally meet you. Welcome home.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, should we take a little pause in the introductions and talk about WiseView for a minute? I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to play with this thing. If you invented WiseView, please sit up and raise your hand. If you can.
Can I lean up? Does that count?
That counts. Hey, Dad.
Hi.
Should I screen? Do you want to screen share? Or should I screen share? Should we get a little WiseView session going?
Sure, you can screen share.
All right, awesome. If you haven't found WiseView, you can always go to the little info button. Oh, okay, I have to actually do the screen sharing, or nothing will happen. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
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 Check out this little button with the little eye in a circle. I'm sure you guys have seen it. If you click on it, gives you all kinds of handy links where you can learn more about your favorite critter. One of them is WiseView, right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on WiseView. And there are two ways of looking at that scene. Actually, I've forgotten what the bottom one is. What's the bottom one, Dan?
That's Pan-STARRS.
Pan-STARRS. And then here at the top is a 1-year window coad mode. Do you guys see this little thing on the left here? It says coad mode.
Yeah.
So in regular plain vanilla Backyard Worlds, we've pre-selected our, a favorite way to view the data from Wise, which consists of subtracting images from one another. But if you hand someone clever like Dan a set of 6 or even 100 images sometimes, he can come up with 20 different ways of stacking them together to show you different views. And so this little menu here gives you like 12 different ways of viewing the same data set. And that's, to me, is sort of the heart of this tool, is that there are lots of different ways of viewing the same data. For example, you can squish it all together into just 2 images. Now you've added together all the data from before Wise went into hibernation, and then all the data after it went into hibernation, the pre-post means. But by adding it together, you've also reduced a lot of the sources of noise. So this is one of the choices that gives you very low noise images. Then if it also has, but that makes the compromise that it tends to smear out moving objects. So if you want to make the opposite compromise and focus on rapidly moving objects, you might want to use a 0.5 year window. Anyway, you'll have a lot of fun playing with this. Has anybody online never tried WiseView? Cool. So I think I'm preaching to the choir. End of demo. Unless anybody has any questions. Does anybody have any questions about WiseView?
I noticed that in the advanced group, you guys have the half year, 1 year, etc. parallax enhancing mode. Is that just kind of something that's in beta? I actually, just by luck, had to figure out how to actually access it. Because if you just click on like the normal link, it's not in there, but you have to put like, semicolon 8, the port 8080, and a slash, and then you can access it. Yeah, I didn't know if that was something that was going public soon, or if that information is out there on how to get to it. Maybe I shouldn't have spoken out loud, but
It's okay. Anything under 8080, that's the dev server. So I'll like be taking that up and bringing it down like crazy. And everyone's free to use it. There are fewer resources allocated to it, so it's probably a little bit slower. But the only reason that mode isn't in the main release is just laziness. It's ready to go, I think.
Fair enough.
Awesome.
Also, WiseView has a link to the Legacy Survey Sky Viewer, which is another super useful viewing tool.
Yeah.
And, there are all
this little thing on the left here. Anything I should show off here, Aaron? We lost Aaron.
Yeah, so the nice thing about this viewer is that you can, if you go up to the upper left, you can use the plus and minus to zoom way out, for example, and sort of really easily get a bigger context of what's going on. Yeah. You can zoom all the way out and see the full sky even.
What's that funny S-shaped curve?
Plane of the Milky Way galaxy. So you can see the bright spot in it is the center of the galaxy, and then it gets fainter in certain parts, which is looking away from the center of the galaxy. Yeah, it's galactic center. And then you can see sort of down towards the bottom, the Magellanic Clouds. There's a couple of blobs there. So you're seeing the full sky multiple times, actually. You've zoomed out so far now. But, this is super useful for getting a bigger context of where your object is. So if you were to zoom out and see all of a sudden you're in the middle of the large Magellanic Cloud, you might say, oh, I don't believe this candidate anymore. So this tool is really useful for exploratory things and has a little bit of different functionality than what you get in the Zooniverse books and in WiseView.
Large Magellanic Cloud, what's that?
Nearby companion galaxy to the Milky Way that looks really big on the sky. It's so bright you can see it with your eyes if you're in a very dark site, like a telescope on a mountaintop.
Looks like we are not in large Magellanic Cloud. Though we're not that far from the plane, it looks like. Cool. All right, now back to our introductions. I will stop my screen sharing. Who hasn't gone yet?
Well, Mark, I haven't gone, but I figure even though I was tempted to not say anything, I'll go ahead and pitch in. I'm Patrick, and I was kind of interested in Planet Nine because I knew Clyde Tombaugh years ago, and so when I saw the project, I just jumped aboard because it was just fascinating. And Adam and Aaron and Jackie and Mark have put together a really great site that makes it just a lot of fun to do this kind of work and try to help out. So although I have limited time available, I just try to help out the best I can. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and that's it.
Cool. And Patrick is also our unofficial NASA meetup guru. We should chat some more about that. And also a moderator of the Sciencing with NASA Facebook page.
Which takes a lot of time.
Yeah, we should. I think we should. Yeah, we'll talk about that offline. We need new strategy there. Did we hear from David? Oh, David. I see you. Are you David Black or David DeMail? I don't know. Has anybody else not had a chance to introduce himself or herself? You get Frank?
Did Jackie introduce herself, Mark?
She did.
Good. I'm glad she did, because one of the earlier commentators mentioned Carl Sagan, that they were a big Sagan fan. Jackie's kind of, I think, the new Carl Sagan.
Oh, totally.
Definitely.
And I can't believe you met.
Did you rock the turtleneck?
Not that I've seen.
No, she just generally rocks. Very good. Did you really meet Clyde Tombaugh?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. He went to the same church I went to in Las Cruces, New Mexico.
That's wild.
I was a contractor for NASA there, and he had been the he'd gone through his career, and he had wound up being the director of the astronomy department at New Mexico State University. And he, after he retired, he started going to the Unitarian Universalist Church, which was the same church I attended, and I just met him there. I had no idea who he was or anything, although I did eventually find out that he had discovered Pluto, and he was just a great guy. And occasionally he would have receptions at his house, or we'd do social events at the church, and he would take telescopes and groups of people and do star parties out at White Sands, and he was just a nice guy. So yeah, I met him.
That's too cool. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you, Patrick. Okay, great to meet everybody. Now I think we'll shift a little bit and go through some more of our items on our list. I usually keep a list of stuff we're chatting about and new things that have come up. And folks, feel free to interrupt, ask questions, tell us we're stupid, whatever. Join in. It's also okay to just listen.
Trust me, I'm the dumbest person in this room.
We all have extremely dumb moments, and we will all have more extremely dumb moments, which everyone will witness.
I'm going to risk an interjection here, Mark, and mention that according to a comment that was posted on the other the Facebook group today, I am officially a dumbass.
Officially. At least you're getting some official recognition for your talents. Cool. We'll tag up about that. Patrick later on. Yeah. Okay. So, Caitlin tells me that we got some more. Remember last time she told us told us that she got a couple of objects observed with SOAR. She says she got a few more this week. Yay. But we still don't have special types from either her last batch or this new batch on good stuff. I'm sure she is working on it in her ample free time. We'll check in with Jackie when she's back about the paper. Oh yes, did somebody have something to bring up?
I have a question for Aaron if he's around.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, Aaron, does the client for the new catalog require a Linux box, or is there a Windows client for that?
Is this for Unwise catalog through the data lab?
Yeah.
Good question. So you're asking if there's a
You
Windows
can take
client?
it offline and respond to the communication chain. I just wanted to throw that out there to you.
Yeah, I may need to. I actually don't know the answer to that.
Just take it offline. Don't have to answer it right now. Thanks.
Okay, cool. I'll look into it.
Great.
Cool. Thanks, Patrick. Oh, I have a note here about Magellan spectral reduction. I think that fell to Adam.
Yeah, I volunteered to help out with that. I just need the data, and that's in Jackie and Mark's hands, other Mark. So I haven't gotten that yet. I think they might set it up, and as soon as they do, I'll try and get a look at it. But I haven't seen the data yet. So
cool. All right, we will pester folks who need pestering. You saw we have a new blog post up. We have
Yeah, I like reading
lots
the
of
blog post. Thanks for the update.
What was that?
Yeah, I liked reading the blog post, so thanks for the update.
Oh, good. Awesome. If you guys have ideas for other blog posts, that blog post happened because it was requested, by the way. People said, hey, what's going on? Please write a blog post. So if anybody has a blog update on a blog post you'd like to see, don't hesitate to ask. Or also we have guest blog posts every now and then. Cool. Jackie's still getting ice cream, I think. Because we have a bunch of items for Jackie. Davey, did you get oh, that's what you were talking about earlier. Applying your photometry pipeline to the Backyard World Spitzer data.
Yes. So Aaron sent me all the files from Jackie's program yesterday. Sorry, there's a big truck going by my window at the moment, so that's not too bad. And I'm building the custom mosaics now, and I have all but about the last 8 or so done. And then this afternoon, I ought to be able to pull out the photometry for those and send it around. So it's close. And that will give us, of course, Aaron's already done the photometry on these via his own tools, but this will give us uncertainties that we didn't have on the photometric measurements earlier. So we'll have hopefully colors with error bars and uncertainties on them that we can justify for whoever writes up the paper on these objects. And I had one other update too, and that is also Spitzer related, which is the first 45 observations from the parallax program, where we're trying to get distances to these coldest backyard world discoveries, and also some of the objects from Catwise are now in the archive. And just to remind everybody, since this is director's discretionary time at the end of the Spitzer mission, all these data go public immediately. So we don't have any proprietary period on those. And I can't do much with them until I get more data in-house. But as soon as I have objects that are, whose observations are completely done, I can run those through my pipeline and measure the distances that way. So the data are coming in.
So that was the first 40 Spitzer astrometry targets?
The first 45 observations. So
45 observations.
It's maybe the first, 15 or so objects, something like that.
And those have already shown up with the data in SHA, is what you're saying, or they?
Yeah. I just looked this morning. It's like, wow, the first 45 are already there. Holy cow.
Well, at least you know that you don't have to reduce this right away. There's not much you can do with it until you have more data, right?
Right.
Are any of these, can you remind me, Davey, are any of the objects in the Parallax program, do any of them not have Spitzer data already?
Yes. There's a very small handful of like mid-T dwarfs we put on there that look like they're within 20 parsecs where, we just don't have anything prior to Spitzer. So all I'm getting out for those is an early epoch and a late epoch so we can do a proper motion. I can't even do a parallax.
Right. But they can, those would be, so assuming that there's a Catwise Spitzer paper coming out and a Backyard World Spitzer paper coming out, there are some things that might just have Spitzer photometry in the Parallax program that wouldn't be in either one of those papers. Is that correct?
I'm not sure I followed all that logic.
I think I followed it.
Okay.
There are some objects that aren't on either the Catwise or Backyard World Spitzer color programs,
right,
that are on the Parallax program. I think is what Adam was asking.
That's correct. And there are also ones where they may not have been on either one of the color programs, but they were on an earlier WISE color program.
Oh, okay.
From, our very earliest WISE follow-up, where we didn't really have enough information to know whether the object was close or not. We just knew it was red. Now we know it's moving, so it's sort of elevated in priority, and we think, oh, this is within 20 parsecs, so we're getting a parallax for those as well.
Right. Okay, cool. Thanks, Davey.
So for those objects, are there any objects, including possibly the ones that aren't in our previous Spitzer programs, where the new astrometry data that we think of as astrometry data could actually provide new photometric points? That's kind of what you're getting at, right, Adam?
Yeah, that was a very succinct way of asking what I tried to say in a lot more words.
Yeah, so there will be, of course, with the Parallax program, we're only getting the channel 2 data point. We're not getting colors. But we do have the earlier data, particularly from the earlier WISE follow-up of Spitzer follow-up of WISE targets, where those colors may not be published except maybe in Roger Griffith's paper, which a lot of people don't even know about from way back. But we might want to just resurrect some of those and publish them as well. So yeah, we need to do our homework, but I think there's other Spitzer data that probably hasn't been published color-wise, but not a lot of it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. Our users run into the objects in the Griffith paper a lot. So
okay.
I think several of us are familiar with that paper for sure.
I think this group is probably more familiar with that paper than astronomers in general.
I think that's right. That's right.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like we don't want to just sit and wait until more astrometric data. We want to check and see whether there's any photometry that we want to grab, given that this is public.
Oh, I've already gone through all that. So I've done it all. Yeah. So what I did was I made sure that I knew what all the earlier Spitzer epochs were on all of our targets, because I use that as justification in the proposal that we have earlier epochs or don't have earlier epochs. Therefore, I need this much data or don't need as much data, kind of thing for this DDT program. So. So I think I'm on top of that aspect of it.
Okay.
Remember when we publish things that we include that earlier photometry, particularly if there's channel 1 that hasn't been published, put that in there. Because there were a few objects that both Catwise and Backyard Worlds found that were observed serendipitously by Spitzer. And I also found all those guys as well. But they may not have colors published yet, even in Griffith et al.
Okay, so there is a bit of new photometry. You've already found it, and you're raring to publish it. Awesome.
Well, somebody should be raring to publish it. I'm not sure it's Yeah, I think that's all I had.
Okay, cool. Nice work, Davey.
Mark?
Yeah.
At the risk of monopolizing the conversation, I have another question for the science team. I'm going to go back, at some point to ask about what should be submitted to the TYGO again. I just want to get that in sometime today. I don't have to do it right this instant. So if this is a good time, I'll ask it now. Otherwise, I'll wait until later.
Fire away.
Okay. I run into a lot of dipoles that are objects that I don't really feel are appropriate to the amount of time it requires to do a TYGO. So I was wondering if we couldn't have something like a TYGB, which means think you got boring here. Basically, what I'm talking about is objects that have a TPM of at or a bit less than 100. That typically tend to be out at over 100 parsecs, that have an estimated VT of under, say, 50 kilometers per second, and are probably something north of a K. They just don't seem to be objects that are generally going to be of interest to the science team, even though they do show up as dipoles.
Did you say you had distances?
Most of them have distances. Not all of them do. These are objects that are going to show up in Gaia because they're Ks, and some of them are even Gs.
They could be white dwarfs, you know.
I suppose it's possible. The temperatures, though, the TEFs tend to be too low for that, though. I mean, unless they're really old white dwarfs.
Unless they're really old white dwarfs. Yeah.
I leave that up to you guys. I can't make that determination. But looking at them, to me, I just look at them and I go, okay, we've got a relatively fast-moving G star out there. Or relatively fast-moving, mid-K, that kind of thing. It might be great for tests.
I mean, you could always mention it and talk and give it a hashtag not submitted.
I mostly go with the TYGO, but I feel kind of sheepish about putting it in there since to me it just seems like junk. I mean, at the moment, it might later have some value, and I see value for actually collecting the information, but they're not going to, I don't imagine that I imagine Aaron's going to go through the TYGO and go, oh, what is this? Junk. So I was just asking,
Yeah, it's something, and I think this is what you're saying, Mark, is you could just, on the talk page for that flip book, just mention, dipole here, and then we'll have like a record of it somewhere where you don't have to fill out the whole TIGO form. But it's there that you saw a dipole in this flip book, and if we get around to needing more dipoles to look at, we can go back and find out.
Well, I always put them in the feedback, where you say done and comment. I always put some information in there. Okay. At the very least, I put in the catalog information that led me to determine what I think I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think that's good.
If there's anything if it's like over 60 kilometers per second, just on my rough estimate of VT, then I'll go ahead and do a TYGO. But okay. I want to follow the rules, but at the same time, I feel like I'm wasting everybody's time too.
I don't think it's a waste of time, but you're welcome to concentrate on whatever flavor objects are your favorite.
That's right.
I just want to provide the greatest value for Aaron and Adam and yourself and Jackie and your projects. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. So what's happening is you're doing a little more of the vetting work than the average user might do, and that's great. And so if you're comfortable doing that, and you think you're and I think you are, good at distinguishing what might be a K dwarf at 100 parsecs versus a potential L dwarf at 50 parsecs or something, then yeah, feel free to go ahead and do that. And that you're right, that would save us a little bit of time.
On the white dwarf thing, if there's something I could look for there that might be an indication of some potential interest, that would be valuable. But at this point, I mean, other than TEF, I don't know what to go on. If I see a high TEF and an odd color, it's like, that's interesting.
Are you pulling TEF from
You could do a quick
DR2?
absolute magnitude and figure out whether it's a white dwarf or not. So.
Is there a guideline or some kind of rule of thumb?
Well, Mark probably knows better than I do what the absolute magnitude for the main sequence versus the white dwarfs would be at the magnitudes or the fan passes we're talking about.
For most of these objects, I have an approximate distance from DR2. I, for most of them, have parallax and a proper motion. So, I can come up with a rough estimate of traverse velocity.
So something we can do, Patrick, and I can just send you an individual email about this, is essentially make a color magnitude diagram. And the white dwarfs pop out super easy.
You let me know what I can do to help you guys get something that you can do a paper or something with, and or has some value for you down the road, and I'll be happy to do it.
So I'll try and make just a simple program that has, like, essentially we'll plot the main sequence and some white dwarfs, and you can tell.
I'm doing it. It better be simple.
Yeah. Simple as it gets, Patrick. No. I think we can do something really straightforward. So I can try and help you with that.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark.
Since we were on the topic of talking about the Tygo form, I have a potentially very dumb question. There is a question on the form that says, "What color is it?" Are they talking about what color is it in the flip books? What color does it look like in Pan Stars? What color does it look like in DSS? I usually do. I'll usually use like the Pan Stars color, but if you want the color of what it looks like in the flip book, then that's maybe what I should be putting. So I was just wondering how to answer that.
Adam, do you use that column?
Not often.
I thought it was required, though.
It probably is.
It is.
Yeah. So typically, I think we're looking for the color of the flip book there.
Okay. And I was kind of unsure because I saw pink, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen as an example, I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen a pink object in the flip book before, so maybe they're not talking about the flip book.
Yeah. Typically, flip book color is what we're looking for, but honestly, I don't use that column that often.
All right. Yeah. And I
to the Project 9. To the Planet 9 stuff, where you're looking for whether it's a methane-rich atmospheric object or something, the color would be different. Doesn't it kind of go back to that era?
Yeah, that might be true.
Sorry, I know that was like super simple.
No. I think that's a totally valid question, right? These are the things that I don't fill out the Tygo form that often, so I don't know.
All right.
That might be something you're running into. So yeah, totally valid question. Yeah, and just go with the color from the flip book.
All right.
And I would also, and whoever has charge of it, I think it's still Yam. I don't know, but we haven't seen him around much. There's the advanced think you've got one form that some people are finding easier to fill out.
Cool. Does anybody have a link to that? Want to post that?
Yeah, Austin, do you have a link real quick if you're already there?
I am not there, but
I just got to go copy the link real quick.
Okay. Cool. So some people had some trouble with some of our super users had some, I don't know what the right word is, trouble filling out the think you've got one form for every single thing that they were finding because they found that a bit laborious. So made a new document that is, I think, simpler to fill out. And I pull candidates from both places. So.
Okay, so maybe I'm probably filling out like the old, not updated version. So
yeah.
All right.
it's really asking for a lot of the same information, but one may be yeah. Give it a shot and see if you find that easier to fill out.
Yeah, it looks easier to fill out just going over it, just giving it a one over. Yeah. All right.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. We aim to please here at Backyard World's Plan 9 Science Team meeting. Awesome.
If it's possible, Mark, I do have an object I kind of want to share with the group real quick.
Cool. I was just catching up. Do it. Do it.
So I shared this with Adam a couple weeks ago.
It's in the chat. Austin just posted a link in the chat.
So it looks like a possible co-mover to a white dwarf that's about 24 parsecs away. It is super faint. It is centered. And it kind of has like a down to the left kind of motion to it. The motion in W2 looks pretty good. It looks fairly consistent. The problem I see is that there does look to be a background object, like right by there. So it's hard to tell if the two are related and maybe it's just having its like flux messed with by the white dwarf, or if it actually is just a real co-mover with a coincidental background object. But the motion looks a lot better and a lot cleaner than some of the other super faint maybes that I've found in the past. So, and also with the fact of being so close and so faint and a white dwarf co-mover, I figured I should probably let the team see what they think.
Austin, do you have a distance to that white dwarf?
About 24 parsecs.
Close.
Yeah.
I definitely see what you're seeing in W2 only mode in WiseU.
Yeah.
Totally. That looks about as good as these things get. What do you say, Adam?
I wish we could get Spitzer for this or something.
So change it to W1 mode and have a look at that.
That's where the confusion starts.
Just W1, and that looks like there's something there at the same spot, but not moving at all. And so that's why my hesitancy to say like, yes, this is super legit. Because if there is something there, and that something, it doesn't even have to. It can, whatever. It can be changing brightness or something weird. You know, it's hard to say. So just slightly unclean, and this is what I think I said the same thing to you, Austin. Like, I love the way it looks in W2, and W1 kind of scares me. We should get the opinions of more people before we just straight add it to the list. So.
Yeah, because that's why I sent it to you too. Is I saw it in W2 and I said, awesome. Yeah. I found one. I looked at W1 and I go, maybe not.
And I forget if we talked about this. Did you check and see if there's a magnitude either in Allwise or the Unwise catalog for this one?
I can't remember if I looked in Unwise for this. I haven't found it anywhere else. I don't think I checked Unwise, so I can.
So sometimes these things show up there, so it might be good to check.
Yeah, so I'll check there. But yeah, it wasn't in anything else that I saw.
There's deep DES optical data in that region. I just sent a link to it, so I don't know what it means, but there's more data there.
I don't know. As long as the orientation is the same, yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything in the optical.
This is weird. Look at W1 in parallax enhancing mode.
Oh boy.
There's an object in Unwise there. It's got a W1 minus W2 of 1.
Of 1.0?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder can you say, what's the W1 magnitude?
Um,
I'm sure.
W1 is 17.558.
Yeah, that's super faint. I don't know how secure of a detection that is, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd be more curious to just know what the unwise catalog W2 is, and then that would give you a absolute magnitude and a spectral type estimate given the distance of the primary.
True.
16.57.
Off the top of my head, I can't do the math.
Ones, yeah.
Hey, Aaron, check out my screen here.
Yeah, I see your screen.
Parallax enhancing mode there. It's like we got like a registration problem in W1. Do you agree?
Yeah, I suspect this is the known. I suspect this is the thing that we fixed for the relaunch, where I had these astrometric tweaks that I gave you when you
Right.
bookbooks. And I don't believe that stuff is incorporated into WiseView.
I guess.
Yeah.
What's catching my eye is I see on W1. On W1, it looks to me like the bright object is sitting still and everything else is wobbling.
Yeah, that is a little bit weird. Maybe if you change the stretch, you might see the brighter object moving more easily. But yes, that is weird now that you point that out.
Weird. It makes me wonder if, for example, could it be that this registration issue is what's making the object look like it's not moving in W1? Does this persist in W2? A little different in W2.
The astrometry registration problems are actually worse in W1 than in W2, so it makes sense that you can't see it as well in W2.
I'm wondering if this is a weird case where the registration is canceling out the motion of this thing in the W1 band. Call me crazy.
Yeah, the registration happens on angular scales of a degree or larger, so I feel like it would be hard to have the registration lock onto one object and force that specific object to not move.
Especially because the other, well, I don't know, in like 1 year mode, window 1 year, you're saying this would make it look like it's not moving in W1? I don't know. Oh, bye, Daniela.
Bye. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. I need to go. See you guys.
I mean, the thing is, Mark, in W1, you still see the white dwarf moving, but it looks like the thing above it is not, So I don't know how you'd have one moving and not the other.
Unless there's just a chance coincidence of
right. Unless it's a background, something really moving on a background object, which we've seen before. WISE-0855.
And especially with things this faint, it might be a little hard to figure out what's what.
Yeah, I mean, in DES, I see a very faint cluster of galaxies kind of nearby, so that could be the W1.
And then perhaps this is a W2 only object, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if we had some big Spitzer program where we had the freedom to just throw in targets and high risk, high reward targets, I would want to try this, but I don't know what to do exactly with it right now.
We'll just have to point NeoCam at it, won't we?
Yeah, it might be a few years.
You can shake a few bucks loose.
On the other hand, the time baseline, by having it take many years to be launched, will help.
Right.
It's an interesting object, Austin. I don't know what to make of that.
That should be the catchphrase of all my objects.
Yeah.
Looks cool. Don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But so I have it in my big list of maybe objects right now. So who knows? Maybe couple years down the future,
No, definitely hang
someone
on.
will have an idea.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely hang on to it.
Yeah, and maybe more years of data, like I said, might help a little bit. If it
Yeah,
continues to
Neo-
look like it's moving, it's probably real. If
Yeah.
it starts to get wonky, then it's probably not.
Yeah, more Neowise epics could help for sure.
Yeah, there is a new year of WISE data I haven't processed yet. Did you check DHS for this field?
I'm trying to remember.
I think I made a finder for it, and it didn't. There wasn't anything there. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It was a couple weeks ago. All I remember is that it didn't really show up in anything.
Alrighty.
But Austin, I've seen you move to doing some unwise catalog stuff, and
Yeah, I was
some success there, so that's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most things I found in Unwise are probably already in good stuff because they all look really good.
I wouldn't assume that. You know.
But no, there's been a lot of them that have been really good, like W1 minus W2 of like 2.8 to 3.3 in that range. So
It'd certainly be some good stuff. Yeah. So excellent. I'm glad you're checking that out, because there are, and it's something I haven't had the time. I'd love to look into it, but we know that there is stuff in the Unwise catalog that's not in, say, All Wise. That's kind of could be really useful. So
yeah. And then I also went and I figured out, and I can email you or Aaron the best times to observe with Keck the white dwarf co-mover I have, the good one, and then the extreme subdwarf co-mover.
Cool.
So I can send you guys those dates.
Yeah, that'd be great.
There were some times that worked out.
Yeah, both objects are up pretty much every single day that we had Keck time. And then all I did was just figure out when it was best placed. But honestly, any of the days work.
And it's the right time of night, because I remember some of our nights were like weird quarter nights or something like that.
Yeah, and they actually work. So like I have, for the extreme subdwarf, like the first quarter night, it's rising and it's already at a good height. And then the second quarter night, it was setting, but still at a good height, like just before it reaches its peak altitude. So they're actually really well placed for those times.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I think it would be good to send us an offline email just so that we have it in writing and don't forget.
Yeah.
The work you've done.
Yeah, thank you, Austin. Love to see some of these get observed.
Same.
Speaking of things observed, we had this notion last week about M-Dorf radial velocities, and could Daniel Stern get some Palomar or Keck data for us? Just wanted to check with Davey and see when's the right time to act on that.
I'm going to be acting on that this weekend because his first run is Monday, I think. So I haven't sent him anything yet because I'm waiting on feedback on another set of sources to send to him from Ricky Smart, and Ricky was going to get to it tomorrow.
Awesome. It's posted. What's his first run on? Is it Palomar? Is double spec?
I think so, yeah.
Cool beans. Awesome. And then I have lots of stuff to bug Jackie about when she's back from ice cream. Does anybody have questions? Just general questions about about the project? Should we maybe do a classification together? just as a discussion point.
I'm up for anything you want to do, Mark.
Right. Awesome. And then I guess we'll try to wrap up around 3 o'clock. So we have 8 minutes left. 8 minutes left for Jackie to come back from ice cream and get pestered about her comb for paper. And in the meantime, we'll do a classification. Okay, cool. I will share my screen. And we can classify.
While you're bringing that up, I'll say something to Dan and Aaron and Davey and you, Mark. I went through, I was doing this galactic plane search, trying to like visualize it in a different way. I eventually gave up. I looked through several thousand of those and didn't find anything. There's got to be, and I don't want to give up on this idea of searching the plane using the single frame detections, because I think there's a way to do it. I just haven't figured it out yet. But the first way I tried didn't work. So maybe we can think of something else. All right.
Oh, thanks, Adam. Can you sort of back up a little bit on that? So is this, we had talked about having sort of a specialized galactic plane search.
Yeah, so I was basically making essentially plotting up the positions of single frame detections in the galactic plane, because there was this one object that we had found that was really high moving in the plane that had been missed, and I was wanting to see if there were more of those there, because high proper motion stuff just makes a line essentially in the single frame detections, and you could pick it out quite clearly. And so I tried to make essentially like little finders using those detections and plotting them up in what I thought was a clever way. It's too much. But there's a combination of the time aspects. So things move positions, it starts at this time and ends at this time. So there's some time gradient, and also the magnitude stays the same and the position changes. So there should be a way, like all that information is in this big catalog. So there should be a way to kind of pull those things out, but I don't know an efficient way to do it. So I got to keep thinking about it.
Do you want to show us any of your any of the plots you made?
Yeah, I can show you one. I mean, they look cool. I like them a lot, but most of them are not real. Let's see if I can figure out where they are. Okay, I'll share my window.
I'm sharing here.
I can't do it while another person. Okay. Working, maybe? You guys see my screen?
I see it.
So
my screensaver.
So this is what, thanks. So this is what one of these looked like. So this is just positions. All the things plotted are the detections, and the single frame detections. The size corresponds. Oh, the size and the color both correspond to the date it was taken. So you see this thing in the middle that like goes from red to yellow, and kind of gets smaller as well. That's like a thing that's moving. And I thought I could kind of flip through, pick these kinds of shapes out easily from this kind of thing, but I had to go through way too much to find just these few known ones. So this one, so there's a little zoom in of what it looks like in the top right corner. I think this is a good idea. You can see everything else that's not moving kind of just looks the same. And that one doesn't move so much.
Where's this data from, Adam?
This is the NeoWise single frame detection. So the one drawback here is you're only going down to magnitude 14.5.
Mm-hmm. Is there a catalog of NeoWise single frame detections?
Yeah, but it's huge. There's billions of detections. So trying to like efficiently go through that and find these kinds of shapes is that's the challenge.
Yeah.
But I think there are some out there in the plane kind of waiting for us. Let me see if I have any other examples that are cool.
The crosshatch might work, but the overlaps are going to eat you alive.
So this is 0855. You can see how cool it looks. like the seriously stretched out line of changing colors. That's Lumen 16, which looks awesome. You actually see the little parallax. Like, it would have been cool to see another one of these, but I found, I have like 5 candidates, but I don't have confidence in any of them. So, yeah. I felt like it would be a waste of time. So I got to think of a better way to at least try and call down the candidates that we would look through somehow, somewhere.
This looks like a software problem.
Yeah. I think either some sort of classification algorithm or some sort of machine learning could try and pick these things out. It's just going to take some effort to get there.
It's a pattern recognition issue.
Exactly.
I mean, for one, you could start by cleaning it by saying, well, remove any object that doesn't have another object within a certain distance.
Right. Yeah. There's so many. So I mean, just going through these examples, there's some that, like those 3 looked pretty obvious. Well, 0855 is its whole new.
Whoa.
Right. It's a whole new.
That's tough. That's so fast. See, that really fast one is going to make every other classification difficult.
Right, but then even these slow ones, where this one is moving, but it's slower and it doesn't look as obvious. It's fainter, so the positions aren't quite as perfect. Yeah.
I mean, you're obviously looking for clear motion along a plane, along a given axis.
That's right.
So, I mean, this is not a trivial problem.
Right.
Nope.
No, it's not. So. Anyway, I had fun kind of playing with it, and I thought these images, like, I had fun kind of making them look nice and interesting, but ultimately, I think it's going to take a little more work.
Hey, we just met Andy, who's interested in data processing.
Frank's into data processing. Frank Kiwi.
Frank, Andy, what do you guys think of this?
I think I know somebody else who's involved in it too.
I'm surprised Dan hasn't just figured it out yet.
Me too. What's up with that?
Me too. Yeah, really. Why is he slacking off, man?
Get all on that couch, man.
Just lazing around as usual.
Is Austin still on the call?
Yeah. Hey, Jackie.
Why did you say before I get back you wanted to go over an object?
Well, it would have been nice for you to see it, but no, Mark was waiting to talk to you about a lot of stuff, and he had lots to talk about.
Oh, okay.
That void.
It's just that it read like, I'm going to tell you guys the secret thing that I did that I don't want Jackie to know about.
Well, it was really cool, so too bad.
Guys, we should have deleted
It's
that
a
message.
Patigan type white dwarf. Nothing big.
Was it a white dwarf? Was it a white dwarf?
It was a possible co-mover to a white dwarf 24 parsecs away.
Was it? So it's in Gaia.
The white dwarf is.
White dwarf is.
Yeah, it's a Gaia white dwarf.
Yeah.
I want to see that object. I'm about to have a telecon, so I actually have to sign off. But I have a 3:00 call, and we're talking about the white dwarf Gaia white dwarfs to Catwise. But this can easily also be a Backyard Worlds collaboration thing.
It's also close enough to spit on.
24 parsecs is pretty good, which means that the object's really, really. Oh, here, show Maggie. Come here. My niece is going to show you a trick.
What do you got?
Just watch.
Whoa.
Do it again. Do it again. Switch it. Oh, that's so good. Everybody applaud. Yay. Really good, Maggie. Thank you.
Hey, Maggie.
Anyway. Yes. Is it in good stuff?
No, we haven't added it yet. There's some. We have some questions. So copy that link and take a look at it yourself. There's some question about its the reality of this object.
In W2, it looks really good. In W1, it does not look good. So it's a question of, is it a real object? There's a background object there, or is it all kind of just a weird mess?
Yeah.
And we don't know. So I have a large list of objects that we've classified as maybe. So I've stuffed it in that list so that we at least have it for the future if we want.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll have a look. Why was it in black and white to start?
Because that was just W2.
Oh, okay. I see.
Jackie, my password is 1234. Why do you tell her that? Why do you tell her?
How's the co-move paper going? Co-move paper
password.
You know, I haven't actually. The first I'll be able to actually work on it again is Monday. This week I've had this Apollo 50th press. We had a huge press conference that I had to deal with. That was yesterday, and there was something else that was ahead of it. Oh, and I'm finishing off a co-author paper, which I had to get them everything by Friday, I promised. So Monday I'll get back to it. So let's say next Backyard Worlds call, I should have it done.
Wow.
Boom, boom. I'm going to say it out loud so it's a promise. Write it down, everybody.
I just did.
Recording the call.
Are you recording the call?
Well, it's usually recorded. Who is it that usually records it? Is it Hugo? Do you record it? Somebody usually records the combos. There you go. Yeah, there you go. You heard it here on Google.
Recorded in video.
Can you make that into a meme and make it go viral?
That would be nice. Yeah.
Jackie's paper promises.
Yeah, Jackie's insane life that never lets her get any of her own work done. Also, these little ones are here, so.
My little ones.
They can help.
Do you want to help write a paper?
Put them to work.
Science? Maggie really likes science, actually. She does a lot of science. You do science, right? Yeah. Yeah, we do science on the weekends, so.
Awesome.
So it's good, yeah.
Well, on that note, I promised I would let people that we would be wrapping up around 3. Does anybody else have anything that we should discuss before we sign off?
Jackie, let me see.
Last thing?
Thanks.
If that's all, let me just say that next week we'll have a meeting of just the science team, but then every other week we get the whole gang together. So hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks. If not, on the Google group. And thanks everyone for joining us.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Next week paper.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, this has been interesting. I'll be sure to join next time.
Okay.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear.
Ciao a tutti.
Bye, Giovanni.
Ciao. Bye bye.
Bye.